Icardi, e gol, e gol, e gol, e gol, e gol!
Ma la palla la prende
Ciao raga, come stai? Renato here. I'm Raul Super Sub, who's on vacation now, so he didn't have to deal with this very odd and weird defeat that we suffered today to Lazio. I'm joined also by Critty Smith down in South Carolina. What's up, Critty? How are you?
Thanks, Renato. It's great to be back here again on SempreInter TV after a little bit of a 2-week hiatus and a very boring and uninspiring international break, as they always are. And unfortunately, I'm here to talk to you about a Inter defeat. Very bad 1-0 loss at home to Lazio in a week where Inter had everything to play for. Of course, the 1-0 Milan loss to Sampdoria. You had Roma losing to Napoli, and you had Atalanta won, but I don't really see them as a major threat. And with the defeat to Lazio, Inter were unable to move what would have been 5 points out clear of Milan in third place.
Yeah, man, it was a very odd game. The first half, the first 10 minutes was all ours. We had 3 chances, 2 by Vecino, 1 by Skriniar. I don't know how they missed that. Perisic had a couple good balls through. Kita Valde also got into very good positions. It was a very frustrating first half. Then finally, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, SMS, won the ball, passed the ball to Luis Alberto, then he crossed it over, and it was a really good goal for them. Our defense was nowhere to be found. Ambrosio, I don't know what he was thinking. Brozovic also just looking at the ball. Handanovic, as per usual, just standing there, at least at one time. He woke up after that, luckily. But yeah, and then the second half was just more of the same. They taking off on the counterattack, and we just passing the ball to each other. It was very annoying for any spectator, any Inter fan. Spalletti, I guess he had a good setup, but then that was it. There was no plan B, there was no plan C. It's just like, oh yeah, let's keep on trying the same thing over and over again and see what happens. Now, it was very annoying, but at the same time, it was an okay game. They didn't play terribly. They created chances, they had the ball. They were pushing forward. Samoa had an amazing game, but the result wasn't there. Anyways, man of the match, what do you think? My opinion, obviously Handanovic, he kept us in the game until the last second. He made five amazing saves because our defense, Miranda, I don't know, he couldn't see with that mask in his face, he couldn't run. It was very odd, and Skriniar was trying to be all over the place. There was ginormous holes in the midfield, so yeah, they were just running through and back. So yeah, Handanovic to me was the man of the match for sure. He made ginormous saves today. What about you? What do you think?
And it's a match that was very frustrating because you had one player in particular in Samir Handanovic that really outplayed the rest of his colleagues by quite a bit. Inter had 65% possession to Lazio's 35%, 18 shots, 7 on goal. Lazio didn't even have 10 shots total for the match. So in a way, you could say that the team as a whole did not play particularly bad. They also did not play particularly well. It was an underwhelming performance in terms of execution and in terms of getting a result. Whether that I was going to say whether that be 1 point. Really, you need 3, and especially with less than 10 matches to go, you really need every bit of 3 points you can get, and this was certainly an opportunity at home. And so I look at the efforts given. If Samir Handanovic doesn't play the game that he plays today, then of course I think it could have been much worse on the scoreline. It could have been 2 or 3-0. Lazio had a number of good opportunities to move the score out beyond just the goal in the 12th minute, which put them up 1-0, which, in a match with that much action as we had this week, you would think, that 1-0 would by no means be the final score, but it was. And that's because, as a whole, the match did not offer a whole lot of quality. So, you know, I have to give the team as a whole a pretty low grade, and for, you know, players like Miranda, you know, nothing to write home about. Very poor performances, but Handanovic really kind of above and beyond outshines his colleagues here today in a very poor 1-0 loss.
I agree with you 100%. Handa was the man of the match. Speaking of man of the match, let's do the ratings as per usual, given to us by Sunit from SempreInter. Same thing, he agreed with us. Samir Handanovic, man of the match with a 7. Then the defense, Danilo Ambrosio, 5.5. Danilo in the first half, it was just, he would go up and just fall. Somebody would breathe on him and he would fall on the ground. He spent, to me, in my opinion, he spent more time in the ground than running, than trying to attack, than trying to defend. He was okay defensively. Skriniar, more of the usual, solid guy. In the second half, he went forward a little bit more, trying to put crosses in, trying to win the ball closer to the midfield. I think he had a great game too. Miranda didn't have a horrible game, but since Handanovic had to make so many saves, I would blame him the most. Like with De Vrij, we don't see that as often. So yeah, I agree with a 5.5 for Miranda. Vecino started very strong, just like he did in the derby, but then it faded away. So a 5.5, I think it's fair for him. Brozovic was my flop of the match. He seemed angry, he seemed tired, he seemed like he didn't want to be there. Gave a lot of bad passes, his touch wasn't good, and then when somebody would make a mistake, he would just complain about it. You see him throwing his arms around. The few really good free kicks that we have in very dangerous positions, he just did nothing with them. So yeah, he was very poor. We haven't seen a Brozovic performance like this in a long time. Old man Borja, our future retiree, Borja Valero, he did okay. He did okay. His tempo wasn't there, the team wasn't there. It was odd, but as usual, he gave his all. He ran all over the pitch. He tried to do good passes. He did his best. The 5.5, yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, it wasn't a game for him, really. He couldn't get into the tempo. Ivan Perisic had a decent game. I can't complain much about him, but his shot wasn't great. Like, he had 2-3 really good chances and he didn't convert. And then every now and then those crosses, they were either too strong to go all over the box or just smash it into one of the defenders. Either way, he looked good. He looked good. I wish he had a number 9 in the box. Politano, on the other side, he was a little bit disappointing too. He made really good runs. He had a couple good shots. It was just off. It's amazing though how that kid can do the same play over and over again and still get away with it. But today he was just not lucky. They were just millimeters off the goal. Kita Valde, 6.5. I think he did a great job. He looked great on the pitch. His hair looked great. In the second half, you see more that he was trying to be more like Lautaro type of guy, trying to get more involved in the play, tracking back to the midfield, trying to get more involved in the build-up, getting more passes, getting more, you know, he wasn't not that traditional number 9 that when Spalletti tried him early in the season, that's more what he was trying to do. So I really like that this time around, but obviously that's not what he is. He's more a winger. So on the subs, Raja was the first one to come in. It was very odd because they show him on TV and then for 5 minutes, like, he didn't came in, and then finally, you know, he came in on the pitch. He looked like a leader as soon as he walked in and started giving orders, moving people around, asking for the ball, taking the ball, running, giving good passes, had a decent shot at one point, but it was too little too late. Either way, Suni gave him a 6. Sure, why not? It's Raja. We all love the guy. And Antonio Candreva, I mean, why is this guy still in the club? Why? So many crosses, so many step-overs just for nothing. Today wasn't that horrible, like as we know Candreva to be, but still, it's just painful. I got so upset when like they pointed at the camera and he's like warming up, ready to go in the pitch. It's like, why? But that's all we got. And then Joe Mario came in really at the end. There wasn't much for him to do. He tried, he did a couple crosses, most of them bad, but yeah, it wasn't much time to judge him. Spalletti, Suni gave him a 4. I agree with that. It was very poor. It was very poor from him. He did had a good setup. Those 10 first minutes, it was a good setup. But after the goal, there was no plan B. They scored the goal and that was it. Everything stayed the same. It was very odd. It was not good at all. At this level, this is not acceptable.
You know, a point I want to get across is, you know, this team, if you look at this team, you know, there's a lot of blame going around about Spalletti, and there's a lot of, you know, talk about this team at the beginning of the season being the anti-Juve. Anti-Juve in what terms? If you have a healthy Vrsaljko, if you have a healthy Nainggolan, if Asamoah plays the way that he plays in some matches, every match, he does lack some consistency. And you add that to Politano, who's played very well this season, and perhaps a Keita Balde, who at one point a couple of months ago was starting to come on. They got injured and had his momentum derailed. Then maybe a little bit, you know, I don't want to say they're the anti-Juve at that point, but we have to look at something here. Okay, guys? If you look at the names on the sheet, right, you have D'Ambrosio, you have Brozovic, you have Handanovic, you have Borja Valero, you have Vecino, you have Candreva, you have João Mario. This is, with the exception of a few names, minus Mauro Icardi, the same team. The same team. And minus, by the way, minus Rafinha and minus João Cancelo, that qualified by the skin of their teeth last season. At the very dying moments of the season, they qualified for the Champions League by finishing in 4th place with a 3-2 must-win match on the road in Rome at the Stadio Olimpico against this very same Lazio team that beat them yesterday 1-0. They had no business losing to Lazio 1-0 yesterday, and they did. Or maybe it's because they're not facing elimination from the Champions League or the top 4. Maybe they have to absolutely have the worst situation and the absolute most dire straits in order to perform well in a football match. But that's not the case yesterday. They lost. And you take away 0 points in a game that should have absolutely been a time for Inter to pull away from the rest of the pack, and they don't take advantage of the opportunity. But this is the same team, minus a few names, that played such, you know, up and down football last season. What's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again, wanting a different result. Inter is still much the same team as they were at the start of this 2016-17 season under Frank de Boer. There's still a lot of names on this team sheet that were playing back then. And, you know, until, you know, a lot of blame goes on Spalletti, maybe, you know, I don't have a problem with Icardi not playing or not being on the bench in this match. Icardi has done enough damage to this club that he should never wear the Inter shirt again, ever. He should be sold, unceremoniously sent packing, and never spoken of again at the San Siro or with anybody among Interisti unless it's absolutely in the most negative context, because really, what has he done at this club when it comes down to winning trophies, when it comes to clutch moments in big games? Yeah, he's had the clutch moment, the big game here or there, when it doesn't really matter, when the stakes aren't absolutely the highest. I'm sick and tired of people saying he scored a match winner against Milan in a derby, you know, 2 years ago, whatever, last year or whatever. The fact of the matter is that what he has done negatively at this club has, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many others, far outdone the positives that he's done.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Okay, our next match will be this Wednesday against Genoa, who had a very bad defeat against Udinese. That was very unexpected. It was my surprise of this match day. They just defeated Juve before the international break. They were looking in the up and ups now with a really good coach, Cesare Prandelli. They have a decent squad, they're decent players. I really like that kid Kamwe. He's like their center forward. I really, really like that kid. I think he'll be good in the black and blue next year. What do you think, Critty? What do you think about Genoa on Wednesday?
There is yet another match to come up. It is against Genoa. It is midweek, and it scares the hell out of me, to be quite honest with you. I don't know. I said this a couple weeks ago, I believe. I don't know what to expect from this team. I may have said that on the show. Could have been on the podcast. I'm not sure. Somewhere I said that. I don't know what to expect from this team from week to week. I really don't. Because I did not think that they would beat Milan. Then they go out and play the best 60 minutes of football that they've played all season. They held on to beat Milan. They win the derby. They take all 6 points from Milan in the league this season, and couldn't be happier going into the international break. Then they come out. Statistically, they dominated today. So if you look at possession, shots on goal, all that good stuff. Stats don't tell the full story of a match, though, and that's the fact. Because if you look at the score, it was 1-0 to Lazio, and that goal was enough. Inter trip over their own feet. They get in their own way. And if you say to yourself, Genoa is they're at the bottom end of the table, so they're in the if you split it in two, they're in the back nine, places 10 through 18. Oh, excuse me, 10 through 20. It's a game that a team that's in the top three absolutely should win, but I have no confidence that no doubt in my mind that there will be some kind of hiccup in that match, that there will be something that Spalletti gets tactically wrong, that there will be some kind of drama, that there will be some kind of lineup, something in the lineup that causes friction or causes some kind of incoherent play. Inter's they're the kind of the definition, textbook definition right now of inconsistency. You don't know what to expect from them from week to week. I do wish us success and a lot of good luck this week. Hoping for 3 points, but at this point, I will take one. I will take one if that's all we can get. But until next time, Forza Inter. Everyone have a great week.
All right, guys. I think that's all the time we have for you today. Just make sure to subscribe and like the video. Let us know what you think about this very odd game. Let us know your thoughts on Genoa for Wednesday. And yeah, keep in touch, all right? Forza Inter. See you the next time.